Right on that mic.
I'm Angelea Willis. I connected to the service from my daddy. He passed away in 21, and my husband. And so, to just a little background to my story, I am a recovering alcoholic, and during one of my alcoholic endeavors, I fell down a flight of steps and I broke the orbital cavity in my face. I broke my wrist. I broke my ankle, and I broke a couple of toes. Pretty much everything on this side. And in another alcoholic adventure, I fell down that same flight of steps again, and I had a traumatic brain injury. And I was working at Dow AgroSciences in the research and development, and as a chemist or as a lab tech, and I couldn't go back and do that job anymore because to do that job, you have to, the job I was doing, you had to follow a sequence of assays, tests. And because of the traumatic brain injury, I have issues with cognitive issues. And my kids get on me all the time, just follow and do it this way. But I, don't think, use it as a crutch. I do what I can. But anyway, during this injury, I had gone to be evaluated and get the diagnosis and Social Security and all of that. And the doctor said, well, yeah, you have a brain injury. Yeah, you do. But you've got something more significant going on. You're extremely depressed. You're deeply depressed. And what's happened is you stretch yourself so long, for so long, you're broken. And what you're going to have to do is recreate yourself and reinvent yourself and find something that you could be passionate about. And you can't, live off the fact that you worked at Dow AgroSciences for 20 years and you've got this, going for you, you've got this going, these awards and all of that. You can't make yourself be that anymore. You're not that anymore. And so it was good to hear, but not good to hear. And so I went into a really deep depression for about 3 years or so. My mom is a nurse, and she retired, and when she retired, she got into caregiving. And she told me, she said, Angie, I think you'll really like this. I think you should try it. No, I don't want to take care of anybody. No, I'm okay, and the alcoholism got even a little worse because just sitting around watching Lifetime movies and drinking, and that's what I did. I just didn't want to even try it anymore because I couldn't be and do what I wanted to do. I loved working in the lab. I loved the instrumentation. It was just something I loved doing, and I was good at it. And so I just thought, if I can't do that, then I'm not going to be able to do anything. And so I did, for those 3 years, just sunk a little deeper into that depression and alcoholism. And so my mom, she just kept encouraging, come on, just try it. Just you don't have to commit. Just go on an assignment, maybe for a day or two, and you might like it. And so finally she convinced me, her and a pastor friend of ours convinced me, and I did. And the first assignment I went to, you get to read the profile before you go on the assignment. And they talked about this man being a minister, and he had written theology books for IU School of Ministry, and he was this wonderful professor and all of this. And I tell you, I went in there to take care of him. That was the meanest man on the face of the earth. Oh, it was so hard to take care of. He really was. And his wife, she was sweet. His daughters were sweet. And they were like, could you please stay? Could you please stay on the inside? No. And I didn't share the title of my story. Is I went as far as I could go. And so I stayed. I did. Nobody else would work for me. The company wouldn't even send anybody else to work for him. It was just me. And I stayed till he took his last breath, and it's awful to say, but he was past, and he was really hard. Even the staff couldn't take care of him. And so as he was passing, I was just like, thank you, Father. And so, in that circumstance, I went as far as I could go. And so I told my mother, I said, girl, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. I don't want to do this anymore. No. I'll find something else to do. And so she was like, no, well, every now and then you might walk up on something like that. Just try it again. But no, I'm not going to do it anymore. So she convinced me, and I went, and this assignment, it was the Farrell family. And I tell you, they were hilarious. I loved them. They loved me. Mr. Farrell, Marty, was 99 at the time, and his wife, Shirley, was 92. He was hilarious. He had dementia, very, very bad, but he was as sweet as he could be. Sweet as he could be. You know, he had his little ways about him, but he was just as sweet as he could be. I learned how to care for them the way she cared for him. And when I would get there in the morning, she's so sweet. She'd have his breakfast all ready and laid out. And I just watched to see how she would like things done, because she was very resistant to having care in her home. Because initially, I just took care of him, and she was very resistant, and I get it. They had been married 70-something years, and she cooked, and she cleaned, and she did all of that for him. And so for somebody else to come in and do that, that was an adjustment, and I get it. So I would, just took my time and watched what she did and how she took care of him, and I complimented, what she did, and didn't take over, until she started getting worse off. But anyway, Marty was hilarious. He did a lot of cussing, but he was sweet. And he didn't do a whole lot of conversation just because of the dementia. He didn't a whole lot of conversation, but he got enough across that you understood what he meant. And so I would come in some days, and he wasn't the one that complained all the time, but he had some things that he didn't like. And so I'd come in, he had a walker. He'd be walking. Damn it, I don't know why I just keep pissing on myself. Do you know why I keep pissing on myself? Marty, maybe, we're just, they got you on this medication. And, when you're drinking a lot of water, and I don't want to drink no goddamn water. So I, just tried to calm him down with that, and, just explain to him, well, Marty, you've got to drink water. And so I got to the point where I would have to shower him and put his lotion on and put his clothes on. And I was fastening up his shoes one day. I was tying up his shoes, and he was like, I don't tie my goddamn shoes. I said, I don't tie your shoes. He couldn't. I said, but I'm going to tie them up for you. So I got him tied, and I said, well, how old are you, Marty? I knew he was 99. I said, how old are you, Marty? I feel like I'm about 37. That was just the spirit that he had. And so he started declining. And so I had to be there a little more. Shirley wasn't too happy about having caregivers. She wasn't happy about it. She did it because her kids told her that she had to do it, kind of thing, but she wasn't too excited about it. So it was just, always the air. She was very, very Southern belle. She came from money, but she didn't carry herself like money. She was very sophisticated and loving. And so, but as time, she wasn't very loving, touchy, and all of that, but she let me know what she wanted done and how she wanted it done, and I had to get it done in 4 hours because she didn't want to pay for it, any more care. So, wash clothes, cook breakfast, get lunch, all the things that you had to do, and had taken care of that particular assignment. So, I cooked breakfast. They were in a facility. The Marquette Manor is a beautiful facility. I went and got their lunch at the cafeteria, and getting lunch was a job because they would send the menu, and they would sit. They both had chairs, lounge chairs. I have one of them now, but they had it's a lift chair. And they had chairs, and they would sit, and they'd go through after we ate breakfast. They'd go through and talk about what they wanted to eat. They had 3 entrees, they had dessert, they had, the appetizer. And I mean, back and forth. What do you want, Marty? I want to get this. Well, what do you want, Shirley? I'm going to get this. And they get all the way through. Well, no, what did that say? I'm serious. We're 45 minutes into it. Oh, but I was patient and just let them get their mind made up. And I go over and, I would get him dressed and she would already be dressed. And she initially, in the beginning days, she would go over and try that she was supposed to go to the gym and work out. And she would forget that she was just supposed to get lunch and bring it back. So she'd come up empty-handed, like, where's lunch? Was I supposed to go get lunch today? Yes, Shirley, you're supposed to go get lunch. Don't worry about it, I'll go. And so I would be the one that would go and get it and bring it back. And as soon as I come in the door, well, what'd you get us? I talked about that for an hour. So I get lunch plated and you sit down and she don't want me to eat with them. We eat. I get up, get the dishes done. And while I'm getting the dishes done, they're going back into the living room to sit down. And unfortunately, one of the things that Marty was good at was getting the mail. And we'd get the mail, and he walked every day. And that's one of our stops at the mailbox, and he'd get the mail. And when he brought the mail, he was sitting down in his chair, and Shirley was sitting next to him, and I'm in the kitchen doing dishes or whatever, and they open the mail, and so she's like, Angie, can you come here for a minute? Sure, Shirley, I'll be in there in just a minute. What you want? I just want to talk to you about something. So again, there are 2 chairs, they're sitting there, and there's a table here. So literally there's no place to sit but like at her feet. So I'm sitting at her feet and she's like, well, how often are you here, Angie? I said, well, Shirley, I'm here, a couple days a week. Well, for how long? I said, for about 4 hours. I said, well, we don't need help. We don't need your help, Angie. We really just don't need that much help. I said, okay, Shirley, we'll talk about it later. And of course, the next day, we had the same conversation. Until her daughter got the invoice, because she was reading the invoice, what senior home was charging them, which wasn't what they were paying me. And so her daughter got smart, and she had the invoice sent to her house, saying, God, that was a conversation we had every day. So anyhow, time went on. Care increased because they started to, declining even more. And so Marty, his dementia got so bad. And everybody's, I'm learning as I work this field that there's spectrums of the Alzheimer's disease. And with his, it just got to the point where he couldn't even swallow anymore. No matter how we masticated his food, he couldn't swallow. He couldn't remember how to swallow and all of that, so he wasn't able to eat like he wanted to, and he was frustrated, because he couldn't understand what was happening with his body. But anyway, as he started to, go down a little bit, and I knew he was going as far as he could go, and I was getting ready for bed one day. I had gotten his shower, got his night clothes on, pulling up his little covers, and he wasn't a very touchy-feely person at all. So he touched my hand, he was just rubbing my hand, and he said, come here. And he pulled me in real close, and he just massaged my hand, and he said, you're the best friend I've ever had in my whole life. And I was like, wow, at 99? It wasn't too many days after that he transitioned and he left. But I knew it. When he said that, I knew that was his way of saying goodbye. And so he went as far as he could go. And so I took care of Shirley. And Shirley was a hoot. Oh my gosh, she was a hoot. And so she agreed, to have care. She agreed. She wouldn't have anybody else. And she thought I could work 24/7. And I couldn't work every day just because of the requirements with SSD and all of that. And so we had people that would come in when I wasn't there. She'd turn everybody away. So when I came back to chaos. And so, but she was just such a jewel. I would wanted her to talk about herself more, and because she didn't. She wasn't prideful, but she was just so dignified and so lovely that she didn't want to talk about herself. She'd rather talk about you and your children. She met my husband after her husband died. We came over and sat with her a while. And after I came back to work, we heard her have this saying, oh yeah, we like them, we're gonna keep them. So I said about my husband, I said, yeah, I like him, I'm gonna keep him. She said, no, we gotta figure out how to get him to keep you. She was always making sure that I had cooked dinner for him. She asked me the next morning over breakfast, well, what'd you cook for to eat? She only had a busy day and I had a long way to drive. Well, how long did it take you to get home? Why couldn't you done it after you got home? I'm like, wow. So we had those conversations all the time, but it was sweet. We would have breakfast and I was just initially gonna serve her and move on. And she would would you please just come sit down and eat with me? And we would have some of the sweetest conversations at lunch. And prior to that, I had fallen and I had hurt this knee. And I thought that I just scraped it, but I actually tore some meniscus and MCL and all those kind of things. And of course, arthritis came to visit and all of that. And so I went to work. I went to Shirley on a brace and came. And I was hurting so bad. But I couldn't take off to go get a new knee because I knew she wouldn't let anybody else come take care of her. And, she was declining too. And there were times when her and I we would just have this look. We were both tired. She was tired of living and I was hurting really bad. So one day, this good knee, goes all the way out. I can't walk. And I'm just scooting over to the lunchroom. I'm on this side of the wall, just scooting over to get the lunch. And she hands lunch, and I'm reaching like that because I can't walk up to the counter. And I'm scooting back, and all in my brain, I'm thinking, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. There's no way I can do this. I couldn't even walk to my car. And I was like, I don't even know I'm going to leave. So I said, well, I'm just going to have to call my husband. And my husband had to come get me, and he was gonna take me to the hospital. We're gonna figure out what's going on. So he did. He came and got me, wheeled me out in the wheelchair. I was embarrassed. Wheeled me out in the wheelchair. We get to the doctor, and they said, "Man, you got a lot of arthritis setting here, and this knee was compensating for so long that that's why you literally can't use it." And so I asked him, "How long would it take?" And he said, "As long as it takes." So I called her daughter, which was very close. And I called her daughter and I told her, I don't think I'm gonna be able to come back anytime soon. So she was like, well, just take off a month. And we'll see how it goes then. We'll see how it goes then. Maybe you'll get a bit more mobile after a month. So about 2 weeks into being off for a month, I get a phone call from her daughter. And when I see her name on my phone, I just jokingly said, oh Lord, who does she send home now? And so she says, Angie, she's crying. She says, Mom just had a massive stroke and she's not gonna recover. And I was like, wow. So my husband, I was on lockdown. He's military lockdown. I was on lockdown, couldn't do nothing. So please take me. They had her in hospice in a facility. I was, please let me go. So he did, and I'm on a walker, wheeling. Just as old as the people that are in there. But anyway, I go in, and I actually, I got to be there, until she transitioned. And I said, she went as far as she could go, and I went as far as I could go. Man.